There is an indisputable body of evidence that biodiversity, both globally and in Scotland, is in real jeopardy. Just like climate change, the loss of species and degradation of our natural environment is an existential threat to humanity. The actions we take to address it are fundamental to our well-being and our survival as a species. And the Scottish Biodiversity Strategy sets out a clear ambition for Scotland to be nature positive by 2030 and have restored and regenerated biodiversity across the country by 2045. Government, though, can't tackle this crisis alone, and we know that local authorities, farmers, crofters, NGOs, national park authorities, to name but a few, are already undertaking vital actions to support our precious wildlife and to repair and enhance our natural habitats. But while our combined efforts to address the crisis to date have generated some successes, we need to, if we're going to meet our ambitions, we urgently need to accelerate and scale up those efforts. So the Natural Environment Bill both underpins and builds upon the vision set out in the Biodiversity Strategy, driving the actions we need to take to enable nature recovery on a national level, because tackling the climate emergency is a long-term endeavour, won't be achieved in the lifetime of any single parliamentary term. But by placing the duty on Scottish ministers to set and report on targets, the bill will enable us to hold future governments to account, ensuring that they continue to develop, support and deliver the lasting outcomes for biodiversity that we need to see. Other powers contained in the bill update environmental impact assessments and habitats legislation, modernise the way in which national parks are managed and reform deer management. They're all designed to support that high ambition and help us deliver over the 100 actions that we've committed to take in a biodiversity plan. So I'm grateful to the committee for the scrutiny of the bill to date. I've paid close attention to the views expressed by witnesses in earlier sessions. I know that some stakeholders disagree with some of the powers in the bill. There are others who are frustrated that we couldn't have gone further, but I hope to be able to address their concerns today. But I'm of course meeting with stakeholders throughout the summer, and I meet with the NGOs very regularly. So I look forward to discussing the issues that the committee has and taking you through parts 1 and 2 of the bill.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. So, you've set out that the government has had plans in the past and ministers have had targets. Yet we continue to see a decline in biodiversity, and a good example of where we can see that is the State of Nature report in 2023, where there is a continued decline in biodiversity despite various attempts to stop it, and there's very few successes on specific species. So why is it that statutory targets, why do you think that is going to change the current situation?
Statutory targets are not a silver bullet. Targets are important to be able, as I said in my opening statement, about keeping successive governments' eye on the ball with regard to meeting the targets and having to have the actions which underpin it. The committee will know very intimately a whole range of work streams that we have designed to provide policy and action, because that's where it has to be. If we just have targets, we won't achieve anything. But of course, the fact that they're statutory means that there has to be reporting associated with those targets and meeting the targets. So they can't exist in isolation. They are underpinned by the strategic framework. Obviously, that was published in November last year, which includes the biodiversity strategy, sets out that goal to be nature positive by 2030 and to have sustainability restored and regenerated by 2045. And there's also 6-year rolling delivery plans as well, which will have aggressive cross-sectoral actions. But there's also other plans that exist in other government portfolios as well. If you look at the work that Ms Goujon's been taking in the Agriculture Act, the Whole Farm Plan, the work that she's been doing with AREOB, implementing the policies in the fisheries management strategy, in the marine environment, means that, and of course the work that we're doing across like the MPA network, for example, and the budgeting as well that's associated with those things, like the Nature Restoration Fund in this year's budget, other historic pieces of work that have been done to hold planners and those that make planning decisions account, like MPF4, They're all underpinning. So there's a raft of policy areas and duties upon public bodies, duties upon councils, for example, that will underpin this. It's not going to be easy, Convener. And I mean, I'm setting out 2045 regenerated and restored biodiversity. That's only 20 years away. So there is an urgency, and we have got to the point where we need to have statutory targets, because statutory targets don't just hold governments to account, they hold Parliament to account, they hold public bodies to account, they hold future governments to account. And this is far too serious to leave it just to chance and to hope that policies, because as you rightly said, Convener, the State of Nature report was not good reading, and that is why there has to be this urgency associated with the actions in this bill.